Okay.
All right.
I
Well,
trust you. I hope you don't slit my throat.
Lynch is going to get worked over. Yeah. Please don't slit his throat, he says.
No. Oh, my God.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Oops the Podcast. Giulio Gallerati here with Ryan Lynch,
Hey, everybody.
a.k.a. Gallerati and Lynch. Guys, you can catch me in Seattle at Hereafter at the Crocodile this Saturday, 2 shows. I'm really excited for that. And then the 25th and the 26th, I'm in Tulsa and Oklahoma City. After that, I'm in Liberty Township, Ohio, right at the end of the month, beginning of November. And then Louisville, Kentucky. All those tickets, notjulio.com. Have a bunch of other stuff coming up too. Ryan, how are you doing?
I'm good. Dude, on my way here today, I walked out of the subway and I saw a man in a suit standing next to a man with a camera. The man in the suit was holding a microphone and looked like he was trying to do a news piece.
Oh, wow.
So I started, circling
Hovering.
around and started to hover. I saw him starting to go up to people. And once I saw him do his first interview, I eavesdropped and I heard that he was asking about the flooding in the city last week, which I think you just missed, right?
I was here for it. I was able to get out of the city in time for it. But if you guys don't know about this already, there was a lot of heavy rain in New York, and then like parts of the city were pretty flooded for a period of time. And it was kind of shitty for some people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So did you get in there?
So he finished his first interview with somebody, and he seemed really happy and excited to get the piece done. And then I just walked over very casually, and I was like, hey, are you doing a piece about the flooding last week? And I was playing dumb to that, and he's like, yeah, we are. The subway system, it was terrible last week. And I was like, I'd love to comment on that if you're looking for one. And he's like, sure. And he put the microphone right in front of me. And I said, it was fucking insane. And then I was like, oh shit. And he's like, let's keep it PG. And then
It was the news for sure.
it wasn't live. They were
But like
pre-recording.
you saw like was there like a logo on the
it was
microphone?
like ABC or
Hilarious,
something like that.
hilarious.
Channel 4 News. And then I told him about my experience. It was pretty insane. I woke up to the rain.
Oh, I forgot. So you live in Brooklyn, and
Yeah.
it screwed your day up because you were supposed to do the Ted Jones pod that day.
Yeah, we had to push it back a day.
Shout out to the Ted Jones pod. And then so you weren't able to do anything.
No, at night I was able to get into the city for Danny's show. Things eased up, but like up until like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, like it was crazy.
Yeah, dude.
And there's a little bocce court in the patio area behind our building, and we have a view of that, and it was so flooded, like it was
Damn.
insane. But it wasn't as bad as East Williamsburg, because I think the land kind of concaves a little bit, so that's where you saw all those clips of the crazy flooding.
Oh, like the whirlpool in the middle of the street.
Yeah, exactly
Crazy.
that one. So we didn't get hit too bad, but it wasn't possible to go anywhere for several hours.
Yeah, it reminds me of when I was coming back from the U.S. Open a couple of years ago. Something similar happened in Queens, and we were driving back, and it was insane. Apparently, like electric cars do slightly better in that because they don't have engines. So like the engines don't get flooded. I was kind of like, well, are they gonna will you get electrocuted? Like, obviously not, I guess. But pretty interesting. Yeah, I had a flight, and I was like kind of worried that I might miss it, but I was able to get on it, so I'm glad that worked out. And dude, I had a big kind of like LA show with our pal PD that went well, and there was a bunch of big time people in the green room, dude.
Oh yeah,
I met Vin Diesel.
Oh nice, that's pretty sweet,
right? That sounded kind of like a fun.
Yeah,
Celebrity
Tim
meeting.
Tebow, Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel a little bit higher tier though.
Yeah,
for
well,
sure.
the Tim Tebow one was just a prank, but yeah, that
I
would have
know.
been cool.
How was he?
No, he was nice. I don't know. It was
Cool.
a quick interaction, and then sort of the more high profile people in the room sort of went and did their thing. But
Do you care to share?
there's not really anything that noteworthy. I mean, I did get caught up in like a paparazzi photo like but you can barely see me. Like I'm just like sort of leaning over the top of the back seat. If you know me, you can kind of see me there. So, because I don't know how many tabloids I've been in. I feel like if you are searching for yourself in tabloids, like that's not a good thing. That's not a good use of your time. Or your values. But somebody sent it to me and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But anyway, that was a quick trip. That was good. And dude, I had been growing out my facial hair for this thing that I had to film, and then they made me shave it off. I was like, are you serious?
All of it?
Yeah. I was like, I had this like full on beard that I intended to scale down to a mustache, and they had me go clean shaven. And I was like, all right, whatever. But then I was kind of like regretful of just having this like shaggy beard for a month. But then I kind of like grew to like it a bit. And dude, when I came home after, Hillary was like, who are you? She's like, you look like you're 12 years old. She's like, you look like you had work done. And then she's like, I'm going to need some time to get used to this look because I don't know who you are.
So you were like babyface Giulio when you walked into
Babyface Giulio.
And it's been a couple days since?
Yeah, it's been like 2 days or something.
So you have a little bit of a shadow.
I'm getting there. I'm starting to get it back a little. But dude, she would like literally, I would like go to hug her and she would be like weird. She'd be shy. And like she was kind of kidding, but she was also kind of serious, dude. Then we were in bed and she looks up and goes, is this a one night stand? She goes, I don't know who you are.
Oh,
I know, it was pretty funny. And I was like, this is hilarious. Like Hillary takes her a while to like adapt to change in general. So like there was a little bit of a adjustment for her.
Well, how often do you clean shave? Is
not
that rare?
Not often at all.
Gotcha.
Almost never. But they shaved me, which is hilarious.
They shaved you?
They shaved me.
How did they do it?
So they didn't use like a razor. They used one of those like roller things, you know, the I don't know what those things are called.
Roller.
So they used the clippers first to like, just like a buzzer, right? To get it down. And then to get it really close, they used one of the like 2 circular blade roller things that like really gets close. I never realized that that's what that was for.
Oh, wow.
But it's actually superior to using a razor. Like I don't like using a razor that much. It feels like traumatic for my skin.
Yeah.
I don't know. But dude, this thing we were filming was funny. I don't know for sure if I'm allowed to talk about it, so I'm just not gonna, just in case, but you'll all see it in due time. Looking forward to that for sure. But here we are, dude.
Yeah.
Back in the driver's seat.
Yeah. I'm excited for that to come out.
Yeah, it should be fun. Well, dude, you performed in your first like booked comedy show. So to clarify to anybody who's listening, the difference between what Ryan has been doing and then what Ryan actually did on last week or whatever, is that anybody can go do an open mic. Anybody can sign up for a bringer show. And I think you all know what a bringer show is at this point, so I don't need to keep defining it. But basically, your friends have to pay to come, and then if they do that, you then get to perform. So it's not like a real thing. But Ryan was booked on a comedy show by an independent producer, Danny, who you guys know. But it's a good show. It's a show that is like good pro comics are booked on it. Like it's a good lineup of people. It's like a kind of legendary show. It's called Black Cat. And Ryan went and did it. So tell us about it, dude.
It was cool. It was a lot of fun.
How much time did you do?
I did 5 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah. It was sick. It was a cool energy because it really was very conversational between myself and whoever was in the audience. And I was taking a stab at some crowd work and trying to work on that muscle. So it was a lot of fun. It was a cool spot.
Dude. Good for you, man.
And, and Danny was hilarious.
Danny is a character.
He's a great host. He killed it.
As you all know, he is a character. Was part of you worried that you might not even be able to make it into the city for it?
Yeah. Yeah, for a couple hours.
Were you thinking of backup plans? Were you like, I can city bike maybe?
Yeah, well, once I had to push the podcast with Ted a day, and then once I had to do that, I realized, okay, maybe the show's gonna get canceled. So I was waiting on a text from Danny with an update or something, and since I didn't get anything, I ended up taking a walk to the bodega, and we weren't hit that bad after things slowed down a bit, so it wasn't an issue.
Nice.
I got there in like 20 minutes.
Sweet.
Via the subway.
Sweet.
Super easy to get there.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like whenever there's a time of crisis, they don't do a news story that's like, all right, everything's back to normal. So you kind of just like always think about a place, what your last update on it was, you know? which goes kind of hand in hand with some of the stuff that I'm interested in with like visiting places. You know, with Iraq is a good example of a place that like is pretty functional for a visitor at the very least. Like I know they have some of their own issues with their own internal government and how it's operating or whatever. But like, you know, oh, Iraq, oh my God. And then you just don't hear anything again. And you just assume that it's the same way. Rwanda, perfect example too. It's like, oh, there was genocide and then life goes on and you're kind of still scared of it. So it's funny, like but people have still been asking about the flooding in New York City, not knowing that it's been like, not resolved per se, because I'm sure that there was like lasting damage. I know people's basements were flooded. I'm sure people had damage that really fucked their shit up. So I'm not poo-pooing that, but like life has continued.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a fitting that day in the afternoon and I was able to make it to that and I used the subway and stuff. So listen, it is what it is, but life is back to normal to a degree. No, not to a degree. It is back to normal. Life is
360.
It was right away.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But dude, so yesterday I decided that I was going to take a little me time and have a little day to myself.
What did that entail?
So I cleared my whole schedule for the day and I decided I was going to go to Fire Island.
Okay.
Which is a national park site, the Fire Island National Seashore. So it was fun to kind of knock another location off of that list.
You never been there before?
Never been there before. And that was number 150 for me, which feels like kind of a milestone. I'm slowly working my way towards, I think 424 or 427 is the active number. I think each president adds a couple, which is fun. But dude, it was sick. And this is a fun aspect to it. So Fire Island to me seems complicated to get to. I know that it's not, but it's a long island. I think it's like 30 miles long or something. There's no cars technically on Fire Island. So the way that most people get there is they ferry to their destination, and there are many different ferries that service all the different towns. So all the way along it, I think Bayshore is one of the areas on Long Island where you can take some ferries from. Sayville is another one. I think there's one other location somewhere, maybe Patchogue, and they all service the different parts of the island, right? Great. But I was like, okay, that's kind of annoying. I'm looking at the train schedule and there's a lot of switching and it's going to take like an hour and a half to get to the ferry and then the ferry. So it's like 4-hour round trip. It just kind of like seemed like a lot. I was like, that kind of blows. So I started looking into it. There is one way to drive there. So you can drive to Robert Moses State Park, in case anybody's wondering. And from there you can park and then walk. And like the Fire Island Lighthouse is really close from that walk. And then you can continue to walk on in some of the towns. I was able to make it to sort of Kismet, Saltaire are some of the towns. And the way that it's set up is really unique. Have you ever been there before?
I have, yeah.
Where did you go? Do you remember?
I don't remember where. We ferried in though.
And was there sort of like a boardwalk grid in the town?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's this weird sort of like, almost feels like a dormitory sort of setup. It's weird. It feels like some sort of like parallel society where the houses are all kind of super close to each other. But I imagine that creates a really fun environment in the summer. And I only went to a couple spots. I'm sure maybe there's it varies to a degree as you make it further down the island. But, you know, you can walk pretty much everywhere you need to go. There's a little store in the town. And this one particular town I was in, there was a little tennis court. It was super cute. And you're walking distance from both the bay and the ocean, which is pretty cool. And I went to the beach and my initial plan was to like walk and then bike and then bike. And I was just kind of like, dude, that's ridiculous. Like I walked for like an hour and a half and then I was like, let's just fucking go to the beach, dude. I propped myself up on the beach. There were public chairs.
Oh, really?
Which was nice. And since it was off season, didn't have to pay to park. Like it was a very cost effective outing. I don't have my own car, so I rented a car and I selected the dealer's choice option, being like, whatever, they'll give me whatever. And I'm used to renting cars in airports where it's like, I have status, so I just show up and I pick whatever car I want, even though I booked like the cheapest option, right? But I forgot that it's New York City, and of course it's a huge pain in the ass. So they gave me an electric car.
Okay.
I've never driven an electric car, so I was kind of like, oh God, is this going to be like difficult? Dude, it was awesome. And I'll tell you specifically why. When you rent a car, it's a pain in the ass because you need to fill the tank up typically to at least where it was previously, or what's more customary is that you get it when it's full and you need to deliver it back full. So that means as you get close to the city or maybe even in the city, you stop, you fill the tank back up and you go back, right? With an electric car, there's no gas. So as long as you return it with X amount percentage of charge left, you owe nothing. And I was only driving, 60 miles round trip or something. So I didn't need to get gas at all. I also clicked avoid tolls because there can be an annoying like convenience charge when you use tolls in a rental car. If you don't have the thing, I was like, I don't want to deal with that. So I just did no toll route, no gas. And it was an extremely cost effective outing, dude.
It was a clean slate when you paid for it at the end? Like no hidden fees or anything?
Nope, nothing.
That's nice.
Yeah. I'm a big car renter. I know that some people have sort of like a mental aversion to it, especially in our generation. Like younger generations, people are less likely to want to do it. But dude, it's the move. You get so much more convenience out of it. And like, yes, I get you could fuck the car up. But as long as you don't like fuck someone else's car up, you're good. Mm-hmm. And even if you do fuck someone else's car up, if you own your own car, you're still good because you have your own insurance. I don't have a car, so there's a little bit of risk there. Like if I were to like fuck somebody's shit up, I'm not covered for that with my credit card insurance. And I'm not positive on this, but you may have to buy some sort of comprehensive additional insurance to be covered for this. So you got to be careful.
So you'd have to buy insurance each time you rent a car?
No, you don't. You're covered. Your car is covered. But other people's aren't.
Got it.
Unless you already have car insurance, I think.
Got it.
I would double check on all the things that I'm saying because I've been told that I've been wrong about rental car insurance things in the past. Somebody told me that I had said that you're not covered in Europe. Some guy told me he was covered in Europe. I'm sure it varies from company to company. But listen, I basically just like proved the point as to why you should be scared to rent a car. Mm-hmm. There is some risk, but whatever. It really opens you up for convenience. And to me, it's worth the risk, I guess. And I like to rent cars everywhere I go. And Ubers end up costing more and it just takes you longer to get through your day if you're Ubering everywhere. You know what I mean? Especially in a place like LA, they're like, oh, you can just Uber. I know, but like, it's so nice to be able to just get up and go. Mm-hmm. You call it, oh, he's 18 minutes away. Like that sucks.
Yeah.
Putting your life on pause.
And the surcharges. I was in the city.
For Uber?
Yeah. I was in the city. I was about it was 1.6 miles away from my apartment and it was pouring out. And I was about like half a mile away from the subway. So I looked into Uber and it was like $130.
Was this during the like big rain thing?
No, a couple days before. All of the week that we're talking about, it was raining like
the whole week.
Every single day. Yeah. Super melancholy vibes all over. But yeah, $130.
Dude, fuck that. Fuck that all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Uber surcharges are brutal. Somebody asked us actually an interesting travel question that we should maybe look at right here. Well, before we get into it though, to wrap up Fire Island stuff, dude, I was wearing these green sunglasses that I have that Hillary hates. Hillary literally palpably like despises these sunglasses, but I think they kind of rock. And I just had a full on daddy solo photo shoot. Yeah. Walking around, rocking the shades. I'm going to show you a pic. They're fucking sick, dude.
How do you beach? How does Giulio beach?
Your boy was out there.
Oh, wow.
Right?
They're like neon.
Hard, bro.
Those are hard. You're giving a tough pucker face.
I look good, right? I'm like,
yeah.
damn, bro. Daddy looks good here.
Yeah. So how do you beach?
How do I beach?
Yeah.
Good question. It depends, dude. Like, if I'm with others, I can actually post up at the beach for a while. It's funny because the friend of mine who has a house on the beach, which is the only time I really go to the beach, he gets really anxious and can't sit still and wants to leave. So he'll be like, should we go to the beach? And we'll be like, sure. And we'll go to his house on the beach. Now, okay, this person happens to have another house down the street from the beach. Must be nice, right? So there's that house and then he has a house on the beach, right? So we'll go to the beach house and he'll be like, let's pick up food and go to the beach. So we pick up food and go to the beach. We'll sit there, eat the food. We'll go down to the beach and within 10 minutes he wants to leave. I'm not even kidding. 10 minutes. And I guess it must be nice to be able to have that option where the beach is always available to you. And I always kind of want to like hunker down and spend the day on the beach. I like the beach overcast. I like the beach when it's sunny. I like the beach in general, especially when it's quiet. And because this house is right on the beach, it's a private beach, which is sick. And it felt the same way yesterday because since it's off season on Fire Island, there's nobody there. So I'm basically alone and it felt really nice. So the way that I chose to beach this particular time, sat down in my little chair. I had my Wimbledon towel. Shout out Zach Mitchell, who gave me a nice towel from the championships. And I draped it on my legs. I then sprayed. I've learned how to apply sunscreen properly. The spray one, Hill Dog has showed me. You go close and you go shh. And I did that because normally I'll just go and rub it. And she's like, what the fuck are you doing? So I spray. I'm ready. And normally I'll like jump right in the water, but it was hot, but it wasn't that hot. So I was like, I'm going to get too hot for comfort. And then I'm going to dunk in. And I know most of my like city friends are afraid of the ocean. They're like, there's sharks, dude. There's fucking sharks. My brothers are sharks. And even if there are, I feel fine with jumping in the water. So I dive in and then I come back out and dry off. If there were others with us, I would have probably walked up and down the beach a bunch, but it kind of felt weird just leaving my shit, and I didn't want to like carry my backpack and have a backpack tan. And I probably hung out on the beach itself for like an hour and then continued exploring.
Nice.
What about you? What's your...
How long do you spend in the water when you go to dive in?
Not that long.
Just a quick in and out?
I usually do a quick in and out. I don't like ride the waves or anything.
Yeah. That's a great place to think. I'm sure you a full hour on the beach all by yourself.
That was great.
I bet it gave you a lot of clarity.
Just gives you a lot of perspective, man. Like, it's so easy to get lost in your stresses about life. And so many people who I know in this industry who are doing so well are just so unhappy because, I mean, this might be a thing for everybody, but there's so much pressure and it's hard to get to where we are. And then there's all this fear about staying where you are or continuing or being afraid that like the next year when you book your road tour, no one's going to buy tickets. And like all that shit is scary. And like, I get why it stresses us all out. But you just got to like try to have some perspective and gratitude and like be able to focus and work hard and keep those things going without having fear be the main motivator. And I always find that taking a little trip is a great way to step out of your life and have some room to think and breathe. And that's the time where you have the most creativity, I find too. I come up with some of my best ideas when I'm not burdened by worry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was nice. How do you beach?
I like to be quiet.
Do you like the beach?
I do like the beach. I like it more than I have in the past.
And we all heard your sort of, and I'm sorry for interrupting you, but we heard about your saga pitching to these little kids on the beach, and you know, you got into some drama there.
Yeah.
But what does your slate look like?
Yeah. So depending on the circumstance, ideal situation on the beach, I'm surrounded by friends. They're all having their own side conversations. I'll chime in. Not often, only if I have something of value to provide. The beach is like a great place to shut up.
So you don't want to talk at all. You go to the beach and you let them talk and you're in the corner.
Yeah, I just sit there. I'll either listen to a podcast or some music, and I'll just sit there and I'll just look at people and just look at the ocean, and I like to think too. But it's nice because I'm always talking way too much, like around the apartment with my buddies. And most of the time I'm just spewing out nonsense. So it's like a nice retreat to just shut up. Everyone's having a good time. You're having a good time, not contributing. You don't need to contribute. They're facilitating a great thing. Just enjoy putting your feet in the sand and just sitting there.
Yeah.
And never just sit. And usually there's a bad cell phone signal out there too,
well,
which is good.
What beach? Do you have a beach you frequent?
Long Beach Island is where I go the most.
That's New Jersey, right?
Yeah, down the shore, LBI.
It's a nice beach, yeah?
It's really nice, yeah. You don't have to pay.
That's great too.
Which is nice. It's weird.
I meant aesthetically.
Well, just like some beaches in New Jersey, like they charge a ton of money. You have to buy badges.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's really can be difficult. It's like beach is public property, but they find all these ways to prevent people from going to it.
Yeah.
You need a permit to park there and all the bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's good.
It's really shitty. Like if you're going to Jenkinson's, from what I remember, you had to pay for a badge. Drive the extra hour if you're doing a day trip and you've never been to Long Beach Island. It's a lot calmer. It's free. And I just think it's a better beach. The people that are there are less, it's not rowdy. It's not like a party town. It's very calm. And we liked it a lot. Though Taylor Swift was in LBI a couple of weeks ago for a wedding ceremony. And that completely destroyed the town because they didn't have the infrastructure, like they didn't have the resources to deal with all the people coming in just so that they could surround a building and take photos of Taylor.
Yeah.
But that's how I beach. I like to be quiet and think and kind of like what you were saying.
Yeah.
It's really nice. It is rare, and always I am wearing my SPF 50 rash guard shirt. Those are important. They sell them in long sleeve.
Oh, a shirt.
Yeah, it's a shirt.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, that protects you. So.
I have the SPF 50. I've heard that anything less than 50 does not protect your face at all, which is a bummer. So I've bought SPF 50 now.
Yeah.
Well, dude, yeah, Taylor Swift asked to take a photo with me.
Oh yeah.
But let's just be clear here. I filmed something with her, and I then at the end of the day, none of us obviously asked her for pictures, and they also took all of our phones, so we didn't have our phones. And she goes, "Do you guys want pictures?" She goes, "Let's take a picture." I was like, "Okay. What's your name?" No, I'm joking. No, I was like, "Oh, okay, Taylor. You think we want pictures with you?" And then I DM'd her and asked for it because they never sent it to me, and she didn't reply, and I never got it. So I was completely embarrassed on all fronts there. But hey, what are you gonna do?
Is that from the famous Lean-In?
That's from the famous Lean.
Oh.
Still, the job that has paid me more money than anything I've ever done is me just happening. It's a long story. For any new listeners, I shot a spot with T Swift. I don't think I'm supposed to talk about it, but like it can't matter at this point. And they weren't doing my close up, so I was kind of worried that I was going to get cut out because the wide shot was from an angle. So I happened at one point at the beginning of it to just scoot into the shot. And by doing that, the side of my face popped in. And because of that, I got paid the same amount as everybody else. And they like repackaged the spot. It was really successful. So it was like the most money I've ever made in my life. It changed my life.
A lucrative lean.
Before that moment, I was pretty much in a perpetual state of failure in this career. I was always broke. I was always terrified. I was always barely eking by. I was always a week away from complete and utter disaster. And this is like, when was this? This was in 20. So I'd been doing this 10 years at that point, to give you an idea of how shitty this is, to give you an idea of how shitty what you're attempting to do is. I will say you have some things going for you though that I did not. So that's good. You have a good little foundation. You have this, you have things working in your favor. That's really nice. So
Thanks.
You don't have to feel guilty.
I just said thanks.
I know, but I see you being like,
Okay, yeah, no, I'm chill. We're chilling.
no, dude, you're good, dude.
Yeah,
You're good.
thanks.
But anyway, so that was good. I'm glad that worked out. The one thing, okay, dude, so there are so many nice beaches out there. I can't really think of one that sucks. Can you? Can you think of a beach where you're like, that beach sucks?
Jenkinson's.
Really?
Yeah.
What sucks about it? Is it
You
too
know what?
crowded?
Let me look it up because I don't want to say it wrong.
Okay.
Because it just sounds like
That's a classic Lynch,
habit.
is to say stuff wrong. But dude, it's all right, man. Listen, we can't all be strong in all categories. My dad was coming up with ways to make you
Jenkinson's
to make you overcome your fears. And this is one of the things he came up with. He said he was going to blindfold you, and he has a knife, and he was going to put the knife to your throat. I was like, Dad, what are you talking
I wouldn't like that.
I was like, Dad, that'll scare anybody. He's like, come on, man. We got to get Lynch to overcome his fears, man.
Is there anything after that, or is just the knife to the throat with the thing on?
We can call him up and see what's going on here and get more about this. But while we're waiting for him, do you have any beaches that stick out as your like favorite ones? I can't think of a bad one offhand. And if it is bad, it's because it's too crowded or something. It's not because the beach itself is ugly or shitty or whatever.
No, yeah. Beaches are beaches. They're beautiful. As long as they're not like, there's not too many pebbles or stones. If there's dense sand, it's a great beach.
Yeah.
You can do that anywhere.
Hey, Mom, what's up? You answered Dad's phone?
What?
I answer. You're on the podcast right now. I was calling Dad because I was trying to call him. I said you're live on the podcast right now.
Oh, is that a good thing?
I don't know. I was trying to call Dad, but you answered the phone. But how you doing?
Well, because he's eating. He said, can he call you back?
He's eating? What's he eating?
Yeah, Japanica.
Oh, nice. Japanica. Sweet.
Japanica.
All right. Well, Ryan says hi and tell him to call back. Love you.
Ryan. Okay.
Bye-bye. Okay.
Beaches in the meantime. Jenkinson's I don't think is good.
What's bad about it?
Way too crowded.
Okay. Way too crowded is a good gripe.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And it's dirty, and it's like people are.
Okay.
It's got a trashy reputation. Every time I've been there, people leave their shit behind. And
is that like
they
the
don't
trashy
respect
Jersey
it.
Shore?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, dude. I wonder. I mean, I'm sure there have to be specific beaches that have like insane pests or something. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure that there's, but offhand, but those probably aren't beaches that people go to. Therefore, I wouldn't know about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about even some of the beaches as a kid, like on the Long Island Sound. Connecticut is like randomly handicapped in that it has no actual ocean access. As far as New England is considered, Connecticut, from things to do when you visit the state, perspective, scores a little bit lower than a lot of New England, in my opinion, because Rhode Island has the ocean, Maine has incredible nature, Vermont and New Hampshire have mountains, and then Massachusetts is incredible. I mean, it's like has incredible history,
Has everything.
Connecticut sort of like lacks in all of those categories. It has nice things about it. They're nice suburbs. There's of course cool shit. I mean, there's like those casinos that are interesting in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
The shoreline's really pretty. The northwest part of the state's really pretty. There's all the boarding schools. There's plenty of good stuff, but randomly like it's handicapped a little bit. And like we would go to Hammonasset Beach in Madison, Connecticut, which was nice. It's a nice beach, but it's not like a real ocean. The waves are like tiny, and I never really understood why Rhode Island had these big, Rhode Island's where you went for the big waves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But like Connecticut didn't have them for some reason. But
Yeah.
still have fond memories. One thing that I find funny to think about is I look at maps, and I'll see these like really rich ocean seafront areas in like shitty places. Shitty places meaning like places with political problems or places that aren't safe. And I always wonder what it would be like to go to the beach there. You know what I mean? Like Mogadishu in Somalia has beach. I think it's right on like the Gulf of Aden or the Indian Ocean or something. I forget specifically, but like it has to be a beautiful beach. And I wonder if it's like popping there or not.
I don't know.
I have no idea.
We'll look into it. We'll throw a fact in there.
Shout out to, we have a couple of listeners from Somalia, and they've told me some facts about it. At one point I was planning a trip there, but there's sort of a government mandated, you need to hire private security as a foreigner.
You mentioned that. Yeah.
Which is, I think it's like $1,200 for half the day and $2,400 for the full day. You're hiring an army for yourself. So I don't have that kind of money. And it also feels kind of egregious and unnecessary. But I do think that the image of me at the beach with 7 soldiers behind me while I sit in a little bathing suit is pretty fucking funny.
It would be pretty badass.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that would
or
be
like
funny.
Eritrea is like on the Red Sea, but like no, I wonder if like it's the beach is popping there. That's a place that's just like kind of a hermit kingdom. Like people can't really leave or go there, but within the country, I wonder what it's like. I have no idea. So that kind of stuff really makes me curious. And I also like that no two places are the same, dude. How fun is that? Any new place you go is going to have some take on something. I know I get preachy about this. I'm sorry, but it's so fun to like see what different places have to offer. Back to the beach thing real quick. My favorite beach that I can think of, I love Amagansett Beach on Long Island. It's so beautiful. The way that there's the dune has a little bit of an arc before it comes down onto the beach. And as you get that far out, there's beaches out there that are like super quiet and not that busy. And it's just really spectacular and beautiful. And I love it there. But I love nature in general, dude. You know?
Dude, it is fucked up that they charge money to go on the beach. That should be a rite of passage for any human to be able to go.
It is.
So what's the technicality where
that you
they're
pay
charging
for the parking?
I think some beaches they
pay for the actual beach.
You have to pay for a badge, and you have to verify that you live in the town or the county, like with your license and everything like that. I'll look into it more and I'll throw something up.
Okay, to access it by land, but if you were walking along the beach, I don't think anyone's allowed to stop you from going into any area. I believe.
Interesting. I think I've seen people as a kid patrolling the area, checking badges because you had to have them on the outside of your bag or
but
your
even
chair.
if you're walking by if you're walking down the beach,
okay, yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
I'll look into it.
I always thought that, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, in case anybody has any suggestions for me, last time I went to Seattle, I went to Mount Rainier, which was sick. Got a bunch of good suggestions. Had a great time. This time I'm going to go to Olympic. Because it's going to be the time of year where I think the Cascades will be a little bit colder. I might be wrong about that. And there's also a bunch of closures right now for whatever reason. So I'm going to Olympic. I've assembled a pretty epic road trip. And with my opener for this particular one, Zach McGovern, we're just going to take like a day-long sick ass road trip and have a great time. I'm really looking forward to it. So that should be sick. And anything in Oklahoma I'd be curious about. I have one more national park site in Oklahoma to go to. That I haven't been to, so I'm going to do that. But if you have any recommendations for OKC and Tulsa, would love to hear those. Yeah.
You ever heard of Pike Place?
Of course.
I'm just kidding. I just want to know if you knew that. They have a place called Starbucks out there.
Have you been to Seattle?
No, not yet.
Seattle fucking rules, dude.
Yeah, my friend, one of my closest friends I grew up with, he lives out there. He's all by himself. I owe him a visit. Absolutely.
I've said it before, but it is a city that will like blow you away. It's not like just from beholding it. As you pull up on Seattle and you're driving around, you'll just be like, holy shit. You feel like you're in the future.
Yeah.
It's pretty rad.
Yeah, that's up there on the domestic list.
That's pretty cool. We'll get you out there one of these days. Dude, nothing like sitting in the pod studio, having a nice cup of Joe, man.
Nothing better than that.
Gotta love some Fuel coffee. Need to get some in your life. Fuel America coffee. Some of the best coffee out there. Delicious. Our proud partner. I just love drinking it, and I've really been enjoying it.
Every morning, I'm having a mug. It's delicious.
It's so nice. Dude, there's so many nice, relaxing images that I can paint thinking about coffee and coffee consumption. Dude, you're in bed on an overcast morning with your significant other, and you made her a cup of coffee, and she doesn't know you've done it yet. She's starting to wake up, stretching, and all of a sudden she smells something, and there you are with a cup of Fuel. Here you go, babe.
Yeah.
And now you're sitting there and you're enjoying it together, watching your Saturday morning programming.
That's amazing.
Or whatever it is you might be doing in there. Or just sitting on the couch, spending your alone time. You know how they say, like, don't talk to me before I've had my coffee? That's a thing, dude.
Yeah.
So you go out there and get yourself some Fuel.
Yeah.
For the dynamic person, it is delicious coffee. They have everything you might need. They have the dark roast, the regular. They have the jet fuel espresso. They have decaf. It is delicious and affordable. And you might recognize it from the stores because I know that they sell it in some stores. And they have brick and mortar shops. But now they are expanding, ordering stuff online as well. So you can get in there and get yourself some Fuel today. Fuel rules.
It tastes like a hug.
It tastes like a hug. Great coffee. And right now, we actually have a very substantial discount to offer. If you go to shop.fuelamericacoffee.com and use promo code OOPSBEANS, you'll get 20% off of your order. And it's flat $5 shipping. So, you know, there's no like sneaky go to the checkout and suddenly the shipping's crazy. Flat $5 shipping, I believe, in the entire lower 48. And it's delicious coffee, 20% off. Oops Beans promo code. Get yourself some Fuel. Give it to somebody you love. Go enjoy your coffee. So, dude, when I flew out to LA, I had a weird flight. And on the way there, I flew Delta or whatever. But I had an evening flight. I think it was like a 10 p.m. flight. And then I got into LA late. So there was some incentive for me to stay up. And I wasn't really feeling the music. So I was like, how am I going to get through this long flight? I was like, fuck it. I'm going to watch some movies. And I watched 3 movies. They were all amazing. And it's making me think that they just really carefully curate airplane material. I know that all airplane consumption hits a little different for whatever reason. Maybe it's the altitude. There's some...
We talked about it. We looked it up.
There's some things that contribute to it.
Something with your emotions, they're heightened when you're elevated.
When you're elevated, exactly. So I watched 3 movies. They were all awesome, and I'd like to recommend all of them. And I'm starting to just think that any movie you throw on the plane is going to be good. So I'm going to test that theory. I think next time on the plane, I'm going to just flick my finger and stop and watch it and see if that works. So the first one I watched was, I think it's called Hey God, It's Me, Margaret. It's based on a book, I believe. Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, something like that. It's basically like coming of age tale. This like middle school girl in the 70s. They moved from the city to New Jersey.
Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret.
Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. Really well written, really funny. Really, really enjoyed it. Definitely something worth watching. I watched a multi-genre thing. I typically don't lean towards like a comedy, which I might surprise some people. But anyway, really enjoyed it. Loved it. Thought it was really cute and funny. And then I watched Megan.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch Megan?
I watched that on a plane.
Did you like
It's
it?
a great plane movie, yeah.
Megan's awesome.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
It's great.
It didn't take itself seriously. By the marketing, I thought that it was trying to be this super scary horror movie.
Like a doll movie.
It was a fun movie, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I also like my dad's calling back. Hello?
What's up, dog?
What's up? You're live on the pod.
What's up, Big G?
Hey, well, today is a big day for the Gallerati family.
Why this time?
Once more.
What's going on?
We got a new refrigerator again.
Well, I thought you had already gotten it. It was on the way last time?
We get one every week.
The other one was too small?
And it wasn't working right. Today we got a much bigger one. And because we eat, we need
bro.
storage.
Okay, so I was trying to explain to Ryan your idea for getting him to overcome his fears. I knew that it involved blindfolding him with some sort of a blade.
I hope there's another step beyond that.
No, maybe.
Well, what is it? What is it?
So it's just most of the reaction. Fear, sometimes it starts with a thought, right? But then what makes it worse is your physical reaction. And so I'm going to teach him how to kind of like have a thought and kind of stop the physical reaction, so he'll feel better.
So by what means do you intend to attempt this?
Why is he afraid? He'll find out when I do it.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
I trust you. I hope you don't slit my throat.
Lynch is going to get worked over. Yeah. Please don't slit his throat, he says.
No.
Oh my God.
No slitting throats. No, I was going to bring him a knife for his next camping trip.
Okay, yes.
Very nice.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Very nice, Dad. All right, guys. Love you.
No. Bigger news.
What?
We are going to pick up my motor scooter.
Your motor scooter?
Getting a motor scooter.
Oh, no. Hopefully you're going to pick up your helmet, too.
Yeah, I'll get that eventually.
All right. Well, this is it's a very high-risk activity, so I hope that you scoot with care.
I should be buying a Harley, but Mommy won't let me do it.
All right. Well, be safe. Love you. Good luck, and have fun. Bye-bye.
Wow.
What a character. Big G in the mix. Never forget, dude, he loves the beach. Big G loves going to the ocean. He goes, I'm going to practice my swimming. I'm going to practice my dead man's float. He'll go out there and float. And it's pretty good. So anyway, Megan, great movie. The thing that's so good about it, I love a horror movie that like attempts to be rooted in reality, even if it's like a bit of a stretch. Like I thought that Barbarian was good for that reason. I also liked Megan for that reason. Kind of like taps into the AI thing, which is pretty cool. So I like that one. Shout out to Ronnie Chang. He was great in it.
He was good.
Yeah.
He was really good in that.
And so was Allison Williams. Is that her name?
I think so.
She's from the show Girls. She was the lead in it, and she was really, really great. Sometimes she gets sort of a bad rap. I wonder why that is. I can't tell if it's like just one of those people that seems easy to hate. Like she seems like she's got her shit together, so people want to take her down, like an Anne Hathaway type of thing. But Anne Hathaway seems to have sort of outgrown her hated phase, and I hope Allison is able to too. Maybe because she's a nepo baby.
She is.
Yeah, her dad is the broadcaster.
Brian Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah. She also was in Get Out. I didn't know that. Yeah. So she had
she's great.
That was a big role.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah. I also didn't know that Anne Hathaway had a bad rap.
She had a moment where people didn't like. I asked her out on a date once via DM. She never replied, but I always love shit like that. That like I hope that someday I become famous and that like I am now held accountable for these DMs from people. I hope that happens at some point. But anyway, so the third movie that I watched, dude, was really impactful. It was called The Last Out. It is a documentary about these Cuban guys who try to get drafted to play baseball in the major leagues in America. Now, I don't know if the rules have changed or whatever, but at the time, the way that it worked was they had to, I guess, escape Cuba or something. I'm not totally sure. Maybe they were allowed to go to Costa Rica, and from there, they have to become residents of Costa Rica, at which point they can become eligible to be drafted, because you're not eligible to be drafted while you're in Cuba or something. And it follows these like 3 or 4 guys. This famous sports agent who does this basically brings them into this training camp, and you watch them train. He tells them, he kind of promises them things, but you can't really promise someone anything. Like at the end of the day, he can't control what's going to happen. So it's very complicated in that way, but I thought that they really show it well, where they show that this guy kind of has like a little bit of a murky past, but like all in things related to trying to get these Cuban guys to the US to play baseball. And it's a business, you know what I mean? He's trying to make money off it. He takes a cut of their deal. The percentage seemed like a reasonable percentage. I don't know how to feel about this guy. I think just the nature of the job is one that lacks compassion for people. Mm-hmm. The way that being an agent sort of even in our world, I mean, I love the people that I work with, but it is very transactional, and we are objectified to a degree because the job is set up in a way where the agents need to be able to pay for their life by doing their job, right? So if I'm not making my agent a ton of money, they can't spend all of their time on me or they will starve and their kids won't be able to go to school and shit. You know what I mean? So I get it. So anyway, they do a great job sort of like showing all the different things that are at play. So the guy's like, has these 4 guys. He's telling them, I think you can make this much. I think you can make that much. I think you, whatever. And slowly over time, you see how complicated that can be. And a lot of time goes on. And there's all these like bureaucratic things. It takes them forever to get their Costa Rican, not citizenship, but be able to stay there. Then from there, the scouts come. If the guy's having a bad day, maybe he blew it. Like it just shows just how fickle and how delicate and small that window of opportunity might be. And the way that it works out for some of these guys versus others, it's like shocking the difference and how shitty it is. Like one of the guys just sort of like loses his shit and like can't take it anymore and he disappears. You don't even know what happened to him. Damn. Another guy, nobody wants him and he's not playing well and they cut his ass. Sorry, you're gone. You're done. And that's it. Send him a letter and now he has to move out of the house because this guy's paying for their expenses while they're in Costa Rica. So this guy decides he's just going to try to come to America. At the time there was I forget what the name of the policy was, but if you were Cuban and you made it across the border, you could claim asylum and they couldn't deport you. I think that's changed. But he sets off from Costa Rica to try to get to the US on land, which is a perilous fucking journey. I have no idea how he even got from Colombia to Panama because I didn't think that you could do that via bus. He must have flown, but maybe he did. I think you have to like go through the forest and shit. I don't know what they ended up doing, but it shows him crossing all these borders. He crosses the border from Guatemala into Mexico and gets jailed, gets thrown in this like terrible prison. He's there for 24 hours. Then he makes his way all the way up through Mexico and he finally gets across the border and now he lives in Houston and it shows him like going to Astros like training camp or something, not to play, but because he like knew one of the guys and he says what up to him. And this guy knows him because he used to play in the Cuban league. And now this guy, like he like delivers water is his job. He's like a delivery man and he talks about the differences in the lifestyle. I know I'm rambling on here, but like,
that's interesting.
It's fascinating. And then the other guy gets signed to a deal. One of the other guys, he plays in the Dominican Republic. He's a professional baseball player. He's making a bunch of money. This other guy has given up on baseball and he's like, I love being in America, but like you need to work in America or you can't afford. He's like, the lifestyle is very different here. And the way that they just capture all these different nuanced things, it is really powerful, really heavy, and it'll make you feel a hell of a lot better for being lucky enough to be born in a place where you have a good passport.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. I'm a big baseball fan. I don't think about when players come over,
bro,
just how difficult the logistics are before they even get an opportunity to showcase their talents.
And if
they
you
must
think
be
about
so
it,
heavy.
Like think about like Orlando Hernandez type of guy. Remember him on the Yankees? He came here a little older. He was like an ace in Cuba and then he came later. And like these stories of guys who were huge and then come later. Arvydas Sabonis is another one, dude, basketball player. He didn't come to the NBA till he was in his 30s or like his late 20s or something. And they always talk about, they're like, ooh, how would those guys have played if they had got to be there in their prime or whatever. And anyway, it's just like fascinating to think about the way people can overcome shit. And as selfish as this might be, sometimes I like watching things about people overcoming difficult shit because it just makes me feel more grateful that I got it easier than they do.
Yeah.
And it'll take whatever I'm stressed about that day and make it feel like it's not that bad.
It's one agent for subjects that you're following, right?
I think it's technically 3 subjects.
3? Are they all brought into the same area at one point with him?
Yep.
Okay.
They're all in Costa Rica, training every day, waiting, hoping. At one point, the guy gets a verbal offer from the Astros, and then they never follow through with it. After 2.5 years there, he already called his family, told them. And this is the guy who's the success story, and he ends up playing in the Dominican Republic. But anyway, what a great watch. And maybe that's just the plane talking. But it starts out a little slow, but it's really a phenomenal documentary that you should check out.
What's it called?
The Last Out.
Yeah, I'll check that out. That sounds great.
While we're on it, I got another recommendation. There's a documentary called The Deepest Breath on Netflix. Again, I'm sorry. Like, if I'm messing these titles up, like that's crazy because
no, you're good.
I got it. Okay.
Yeah, Deepest Breath.
It talks about free diving, which I didn't know anything about going into watching it. Apparently, it's this really risky, dangerous sport. And the opening sequence shows a free dive from start to end in it is incredibly dramatic watching this, and you kind of don't know what's going on or how it's even possible, what's happening. And if you know about free diving, it's less dramatic. Like, you know that what you're seeing is like normal, but you don't know that watching it. Whoever made this documentary was really good at assuming that people who are going to be watching it, A, don't know about free diving, and B, don't know about the people who are good at free diving. If either of those are you, which I suspect is the majority of people, because I think it's kind of a niche sport, it's a really fascinating thing to watch. Do you know anything about it?
I want to take a stab at it.
Good.
They're not using any tanks, or they're not getting any sources of oxygen.
Correct.
And they just are very good at holding their breath. And then
basically
they dive down to touch the bottom of the ocean floor and go back up.
Okay, so no, because the bottom of the ocean floor would be too far, but...
Or yeah, whatever.
Well, no, but you got it. But so it's more nuanced than that though. So, and there's things about it that are interesting. So they measure it with like a rope. So like there's always these people going for world records, whatever. So there's a rope that goes all the way down. And the way that you prove that you got to the bottom is because you take a sticker off the bottom and you attach it to your shit, and then you swim up. So, and this is not a spoiler in any capacity, but it's super fascinating. So the way it works is like the thing that fucks you up, it strikes me as, is the pressure change, because these people are going 100 plus feet down, and it seems like they can hold their breath for a long time, but it's not that. It's about like the pressure. So you go down 100 feet, and at some point as you're going down, you hit this part of the ocean where you just start to sink.
Really?
So you're like swimming to get down, and then at some point you just start to glide, and it starts to get dark, and dude, it's fucking nuts. And then you get to the bottom, you put the thing on, and you swim back up. But you'll be fine until like the last 5 to 10 meters or something. And at that point is when you risk blacking out, they call it, where like your body just stops working basically. And it shows people coming to the surface, blacking out. And it's like not that big of a deal for them, because I mean, you could die still, but like they know how to quickly kind of get you out of it. I don't think most people die when it happens to them, but it's really scary to see. Like the people on the surface, and they're just like seizing, it looks like eyes rolling in the back of their head, and then they like kind of give them a quick CPR or whatever. But in order to like not get disqualified, you need to be above water and have your wits fully about you. If you start to black out, because you might start blacking out 10 seconds after you're above water. So you might have just broken the world record, and now you've swam to the surface and you're good, and suddenly you start blacking out, and then they give you the red card, which means you didn't complete it.
Opening sequence, how long was that? How long from first dive to getting brought back up?
So it shows the entire thing, and I think it's like 4 minutes.
Oh my God.
And they're doing all these tricks to like be relaxed, and to this and to that. And bro, these free divers look old. And I think it's from, Hill Dog thought it was from the sun, but it can't just be from the sun, dude. It has to be from the pressure. Like you'll see a surfer, you'll see other people who do like beach-based things. They don't look old the way that these people do. These people look like warped. And they really have like a YOLO sort of lifestyle. Like they always show them at the end of the day drinking. They're always like drinking beers, and like these people know that they could die any day. Like the best person in the history of the sport vanished during a dive, and they never recovered her body.
Wow.
The most decorated athlete in the history of the sport died doing it.
Seems like a free solo kind of thrill seeker. They
Exactly.
Just, like, their brains are wired a different way, where they're just chasing that.
Exactly.
That's crazy. I'll check that one out too. I checked out the Blue Zones.
You like that one,
the
right?
Cowboy.
The
Yeah.
Cowboy's cool, right?
Yeah. You guys, I know it's been brought up probably now four episodes in a row, thanks to me. But check it out if you haven't. It was insane seeing this guy.
It's episode 3, right?
Yes, I think it was. Yeah, it was 3. He looks like he's 60.
Yeah, it's called Blue Zone. If you search Blue Zones, the show will pop up.
100 years and then something about Blue Zones. It'll pop up.
Yeah, it just talks about how people in these, what the things that the people who live in these areas either have in common, or what's unique about them that allows them to live so long.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty rad. And yeah, dude, that's become a popular genre that I've definitely fallen for.
Mm-hmm.
It's just sort of like extreme adventure shit. Like the ice pick guy, I forget what that one's called. The Alpinist.
The Alpinist, yes.
The Alpinist.
Yeah, I watched that.
Well, dude, I've talked about this a little bit in my stand-up, but as I get a little bit older, it becomes harder and harder and harder to like hit fitness benchmarks.
Mm-hmm.
So like I really need long periods of time without setbacks, and with being kind of aware of what shortcomings my body has now as far as like injuries or lack of fitness or whatever. And if you want to get in shape for summer, beginning now is not a bad time. No. Got to be honest. It's October. And if you want to like, you have enough time to fully transform your body by next summer.
You could get ripped between now and Memorial Day.
Even if you're like out of shape, you have time, dude. Yeah. And there are ways to do it. Like keeping up the momentum can be the hardest thing. Like someone said this to me before too, like a proper workout schedule should be kind of boring, right? Like you're in the gym, you're doing what you got to do, you're eating healthy, you're sleeping. Like it doesn't have to be some crazy extreme thing. It's just like doing the right stuff over time. And there's little tools that'll help you do that. And that's why here on Oops the Podcast, we love the Fitbod app.
Love Fitbod.
It's a great workout app.
I need a little bit of hand holding when I'm doing workouts, especially when I'm not feeling motivated. And I set my goals for what I want my body to look like in 3 months. And it is formulating everything I need to do to accomplish that. So I just fully trust the process, go in there, and Fitbod's been setting me up for success.
Sweet. Yeah. Like Fitbod's great too, because it takes into account what you have access to.
Yes.
So you get to sort of like pre-register what kind of equipment you have, and it will make workouts for you based on that. And it learns about you based on the success of your workouts too, which is pretty cool. So it improves over time. And that's a nice thing. And I don't know about you, but when I'm in the gym, I don't like having to think about what I'm going to do next. I like going in there with a pre-planned workout, and sometimes making it myself like takes a long time, or I second guess it because I'm not an expert. You know what I mean? So this is a great way to really let it rock and roll. So right now, it's never been easier to get the results that you have always wanted. So make sure you check out Fitbod. Get 25% off of your subscription at fitbod.me/oops. That's fitbod.me/oops. Horror movie recommendations for the season.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a point to watch horror movies that I haven't seen before. When you're going into October, the idea of spending a night in with a candle lit and a spooky movie, and you're by yourself or you're with your partner, it is just such a dream to me. I think about it all year long. I haven't seen a lot of the classics. We're gonna watch The Poltergeist, which I have not seen before. But some of my recommendations, I think I've mentioned them a couple of times. Hereditary by Ari Aster.
I haven't seen that yet.
That is my favorite movie right now. And that obviously changes based off of the mood and everything. But that was the most recent movie that I've seen that made me walk out with my jaw dropped. I didn't know anything about it going into it, so I'm not going to tell you anything about it. I really recommend that movie, as well as Midsommar by the same director.
Midsommar's amazing.
Beautiful movie. The colors were amazing, and it's a great story, and it is brutal, so you don't have a weak stomach, or just prepare yourself before watching it, because it's really fucked up. And then one of my favorites, unpopular opinion, The Strangers.
Oh my God.
Have you seen that movie?
Is that unpopular? I don't think that's an unpopular opinion.
They're doing a reboot, so I was just looking into it recently. Apparently it didn't do well via Rotten Tomato reviews. I loved that movie.
It's one of the most, and everybody who I know who's seen it thinks it's like the scariest movie they've ever seen. It's like really fucked up.
I got
honestly.
some goosebumps coming right now.
If you're not ready for it, if you're not feeling really sadistic, I would literally say don't watch it.
Yeah.
But like it is a brutal movie, but it's really good.
Yeah. And then It Comes at Night. That's another. Anything A24 puts out, they just put out bangers. Like, especially horror movies. This is their month.
Have you seen Bodies, Bodies, Bodies?
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
I'm just only asking his PDs, and I
that's like a murder mystery one, right?
I think so.
Something like that.
I don't know much about it.
Yeah, I'll check that out. But yeah, those are my recommendations. Which ones would you suggest?
Okay, for classics, first of all, Poltergeist is really good, and some of the old horror movies have really great trailers. The Poltergeist trailer is awesome. The movie itself is awesome too. But even like the OG It trailer was really good. The original It is not that good in my opinion. It's like, it was sort of, I think it was a mini series. I don't think, so it wasn't as like gruesome as it could have been, or like as scary. The beginning's really, really good, but then it kind of sucks.
Do you like the new one?
I haven't watched it. Is it good? The book is fucked up. I read 10 pages and I was like, I can't read this. It's too scary.
It's a big book too, right?
Yeah.
It's really big. No, I saw the new one, or the one that came out in 2017. I haven't seen the part 2, but the first one was really good. I thought it accomplished its goal. It wasn't just a reboot. It was pretty solid.
Well, I'm trying to think of other classics that are good. Pet Sematary is great. That's a classic. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have. Vic seen that one, and she
Yeah.
said that's one of the most fucked up movies.
It's
that
a good
she's
one.
seen.
Also, Nightmare on Elm Street. All the like original scary movies. Even if they're campy, they're still good. Those are actually scary. The original Halloween is kind of scary. The new Halloween is also scary. I don't know if you've seen those.
I've seen the OG.
Yeah.
Saw has made a resurgence. I've heard the new one is
scary.
amazing. If you're a Saw fan, I've read that you're gonna love it as much as the first 3 or even more.
Rosemary's Baby is one of my favorite.
I saw that. I was a little too young when I saw that. I didn't quite put
It's
the pieces
scary.
together.
It's
yeah.
really good. Obviously Psycho.
The Shining.
Shining's great.
Send me a DM. I'd love to hear any. If you're picking up my vibe of what I'm putting out there in terms of A24 stuff, I'd love some recommendations because I'm always looking for a good thrill.
Yeah, let us know what horror movies you like. Good shit, dude. You guys know where to find me, notjulio.com, for all my tour dates, in addition to what I already announced at the beginning of the episode. I'm in St. Pete, Florida, the 10th of November. I am in West Jordan, Utah, 17th to 18th of November, and I'm planning to shoot a special at some point. And I think what I want to do is have like some sort of preferred access for people who listen to the pod. So something like if we've corresponded in DM before or something, I want to give those people an opportunity to like get better access or something. I think that would be a nice thing and a good way for me to sort of like show you guys that I give you elevated status over the rest of the people who interact with me and stuff. So we appreciate you. The pod's great. We love doing it. Buy some merch, dude. You see I'm rocking the turkey tee. I'm going to turn around so you can see. But it's pretty sick, right? Look at that.
Look at that. Yeah, mine just came in too. I'm going to throw it on.
Ryan just got
soon,
his.
yeah.
And yeah, send us emails, interact with our shit, subscribe, all that stuff. Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, Ryan is really polite. And email us at oopsthepodcast@gmail.com. Have a good one.